Hey, geometry class. Let's talk a little bit about isosceles and equilateral triangles here. An isosceles triangle is any triangle that has two sides the same. If the third side happens to be the same, we would call it equilateral, but it is still also an isosceles triangle. We have some different names for these sides. This right here is going to be the base, and I know we went through this and the thing is labeled in Google Class, but this right here is going to be the base, and these two angles here are the base angles. And that means this right here, these are the legs. The legs are the same. You'd walk funny if they weren't. And this right here is the vertex angle. So that is the general idea of these. Angles 2 and 3 are the same. We have these right here, the isosceles theorem and the converse of it. If two sides are the same, the angles are going to be the same. If two angles are the same, the two sides are going to be the same. So if you have two base angles that are congruent, you know those legs also have to be congruent. So those are true statements. By the way, I know I go through this fast. Feel free to pause and let me catch a breath. And then moving on to equilateral triangles. If we have all three sides the same, then it's equilateral. That's also, if we have all three angles the same, then it's equilateral. If they all equal one another, that's equal angle. What would they have to be if they were all equal? If we have three angles all added together that equal 180, wouldn't they all individually have to be 60? And yes, we don't know that the sides have to be anything special, but we do know the angles would all have to be 60 for that to be true. So then the rest of this in the entire notes package just becomes can you work through and solve the equations. There are some pretty crazy ones in here, especially ones that don't have any pictures. We'll just draw a picture for them. I believe the answer key also has some of those pictures drawn. You draw a picture, you label it well. How are you supposed to know how to draw these things, right? Well, you draw a triangle first, and then you say D is congruent to E. So if D is congruent to E, then you better label those base angles the same, and then your other vertex angle would have to be F for triangle DEF, and now you can label the things where they are and set your equations up appropriately. If it gives you side lengths, then you know to set those side lengths equal. If it gives you angle measures, you know to set those equal, or maybe add them all together to get 180. So that's the process for these. If you have any questions on that homework as you look back, then feel free to send me an email. See ya.